My microphone was muted. Yay! Tervetuloa. Yeah. Can you tell I haven't streamed in a while? Hello, everybody. Lighting is weird. Light is not working. I'll fix it later. I have this list that I showed you of a bunch of games that we're going to do in October. Some are scary, some are spoopy, which is fine. But as I was saying before I realized that my mic was off, the one that we're going to wrap out with, because October 31st, i.e. Halloween, is actually a Thursday and thus technically a streaming day, I'm going to do my best to play Welcome to the Game 2. I'm going to try and beat it, because I'm terrible at games, but I think I've seen enough of that game to do it. And if I can succeed where Markiplier failed, I'm going to consider myself a success. But that's not until Halloween. Got a whole bunch of crazy spooky stuff in store. This I know is not a super spooky game, but it's one that I wanted to do. And honestly, based on this picture and the music I'm hearing in my earphones, it seems kind of spooky. So, I know I've watched this game be played at one point, but I remember very little about it. So we're just going to get into it. And we're going to have a good time. So, new game. Welcome to the Velvet Room. Oh no, that's a hat. This is a cheerful little room. Now, in order to begin, this is the most important part of this entire experience. You will be asked a series of questions and you must answer them honestly. Okay. Now, when I say answer them honestly, I don't mean answer them how you'd like to answer them. Answer them with truth, even if that's hard to face. Cool. We all want to be good people. We rarely want to admit our faults, grievances, or mistakes. But you must decide what you truly want. Do you want this to work properly? Do you want the truth about yourself, your destiny in this world? Or would you rather live a lie just to hide from yourself? I mean... The process is very simple in theory. Just answer a long series of questions. What's difficult is self-analyzing your own psyche to evaluate the truths in your own mind and life so that you can predict your future. Okay. You see, as long as you're honest with these questions and answers, you'll be able to see your own future here. This will tell you things you already know, but don't necessarily know that you know. This is a video game, my brother in Christ. Sibling in Christ. As long as the answers you provide to the questions asked are 100%... I'm getting a raid! Goodness gracious! Hello, Ubernaga. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, it's Amirg. Loud noises indeed. Yeah, that's the first time that's ever gone off. So it's good to know what's going on. Hello, everybody. Tervetuloa. I am JC. I am a variety streamer, and I have not been streaming for a long time. Yeah, you're the first one. It's very cool. We are playing a game called The Test that is telling me that it's going to tell my future as long as I answer these questions honestly, and really, it's kind of terrifying. But, yeah. Yo, what's up, Mirg? Good to see you. And hopefully, if I follow my little list, I have a whole list of games to be played in October for Spooptober. Some of them are spoopy and some of them are scary and who knows what else, but it's going to be fun. And maybe it'll get me back in the pattern of actually streaming again. Yay! But yes, we're just starting, so you haven't missed much other than this person threatening me with my future. And psyche analysis. Mirktober hype! I'm looking forward to seeing your Mirktober stuff too. Even if I have to watch VODs for most of them because you stream at like 2 a.m. my time. Alrighty. As long as the answers you provide to the questions asked are 100% honest and true, this process will simply unlock a part of your mind that you do not have natural access to. suppress self-doubt. This isn't psychic. This isn't a personality test. This is simply nature. Okay. Yep. I believe this. This is you. This is your own mind. This is simply nature taking its course. That's too much pressure. Yeah, no joke. This is the human brain at work unlocking hidden truths within itself. I am thou, thou art I. I get it. While attempting to answer many of these questions, you'll often wonder, like, well, this answer depends on the circumstances. That's kind of how I live my life. I get nervous playing the Akinator game. I mean, that's valid. Create your own circumstances in your mind and answer the questions with a simple yes or no as you see fit. You may not understand nor realize it, but your mind will develop the situation required to answer the question the way it needs to be answered. Okay. I invite you to grab a drink of water. Well, I have my delightful Saranac Shirley Temple, and you're going to have to deal with that, sir. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the experience. Right? We are about to begin with a series of questions, and provided that you're a willing participant, we will be unlocking some substantial information today. I am talking to serial killer Eggman. This is Eggman meets Igor, and I'm not quite sure what to make of that. Here we go. Do you believe that everyone should always be treated fairly? Okay, so we're just jumping in the deep end. I see what's going on here. I'd just like to point out that this says help. There is a blood arrow pointing to the bed. That I thought was a pile of guts, but appears to just be a blood-stained doll. We have, like, blood handprints here. This is not a pleasant place. Okay, do you believe that everyone should always be treated fairly? Yeah, I'm with you on that, Mirka. Yes. Yes. Do you believe that everyone should always be treated equally? I'm 2 questions in, and this is beating me up. Equally. It depends on the definition of equal. Minecraft executives. Yeah. Like, equal doesn't necessarily mean to the same... I'm going to say no. That's what my instinct is saying. Have you ever invented anything? Yes. Do you believe that you are worthy of someone's time investment? All right, it wants honest answers, right? It wants just to say not what I want to say, but what I would say. Jesus, this thing is calling me out. No. Would you consider yourself to be open-minded? Yes. Would you say that you sometimes have trust issues? Yes, all the time. Would you be all right with living alone forever? Like just living by myself in my house? I mean, if we're going to work up a situation, like, it's like, okay, I mean, this is one of their, it depends on the circumstances kind of question. Because, like, do they mean alone as, like, I'm the only person living in my house, or alone as in I can never speak to another human being again? Or, you know, personality of any sort. I think they mean, like, just living by... My circumstance in my head is living by myself in my little house. And yes, I would be all right with that. Do you always give someone the benefit of the doubt? Always? No. Most of the time. Do you dislike the... Yes. I don't even need to... Their self-confidence suggestion. Be prepared. Do you like the color blue more than the color black? Despite what my wardrobe might tell you, yes. If you found money on the street and knew who it belonged to, would you give it back to them? Yeah. Are you sure you want the answers you seek? No. Are you afraid of spiders? Yes. If you knew you would emerge unscathed, would you jump into molten lava? Define unscathed. Because, I mean, like, unscathed can technically mean, like, I'm not going to be physically injured. But that don't mean it's not going to be real damn hot. If you knew you would emerge unscathed, would you jump into molten lava? No. I don't trust like that. Would you consider yourself to be fat? Yes. Would you say that you have lots of charisma? No. Have you ever wished you could be temporarily frozen? No. What? I under no circumstances. This is all very interesting. I'm glad you think so. Did you realize that the last letter of the previous 5 questions, when put together, spelled the name Satan? What? No. Does that make you uncomfortable? No. Are you good at finding hidden puzzles or clues? No. Are you now wondering what other hidden messages are placed within these questions? Yes. Have you been entirely honest with your answers thus far? Yeah. Are you afraid of the consequences for answering questions dishonestly? Consequences? You're a video game. No. Were you aware that there could be potential consequences for it? I mean, no, I guess. Were you aware that there could be potential consequences? I mean, I didn't think about it, so I guess no. Are you wondering how these questions begin to take a strange turn? I mean, kinda. Would you consider yourself captivated? Captivated? That's a strong word. Very interesting. Would you consider yourself to be brave? No. Do you view yourself as someone with above average intelligence? I do. Have you been looking for hidden messages in these questions? No, I started to and then forgot. Are you wondering which hidden messages you may have missed? Yes. Have you begun to wonder how long this test would take or how many questions exist in the session? Not really. I like this kind of thing. Do you consider yourself to be a patient person? Not really. You're making me want to play. I mean, it's on my computer. We can do it. Do most humans... Okay. Do most humans annoy you? I mean, I would argue that I don't know most humans. So, I mean, are we talking about most of the humans that I know or are aware of? I wouldn't. Do most humans annoy you? I would say no. I wouldn't say most humans. I mean, there are humans that annoy me, but no. Do you prefer animals to people? Yes. Do you believe in magic? I do. Do you believe in God or the existence of some form of higher power? I do. Do you fear death? Yes. Are you attracted to someone whom you're not currently in a relationship with? I mean, I'm not in a relationship with anybody. So this question is basically asking, are you attracted to a person? Which, I mean, probably. I guess. Robbie, I am attracted to Robbie Damon. I can't even argue that one. Yeah. Did you answer that like, yes, I did. Are you alone? I am not, actually. I'm with all of you! If I told you with utmost certainty that there's something watching you, would you believe me? Yes, because I'm on stream and people are talking to me. Have you wondered who I am? No. You're Igor Ivo. Have you had shivers at any point during the session? I have not. Do you feel like you're being watched? Yes, because I'm on stream and I'm with all of you. Have you considered quitting? No. I don't quit. I'm not a quitter. Do you drink water every day? I mean, technically, yes, because I drink water to take my medication. Also, I have this great big jug here of water. So, yes, I drink water every day. Do you eat at least once per day, every day? Yes. Hydrate. Yes, hydrate. 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 Thank you, Mirk. Big sippy. Yes, probably. Are you wondering what they are? No. Would it bother you to never know without finding them yourself? No. I mean, I am very likely to go back and, like, look at the VOD once it's done to see if any of it... I don't need to hydrate twice. Here, I'll hydrate with my different drink this time. No, it wouldn't bother me to never know without finding them myself. Is your favorite number 7? It is not. My favorite number is 2. Life is short, but it's the longest thing we'll ever do. Do you agree? Yes. I beholden to the hydrate goblins. I mean, I bring this on myself. I'm the one that put the hydrate redeem there. Yes. I'll say yes to that one. Oranges cannot be compared to apples. Do you agree? No. I mean, I recognize what the apples and oranges comparison, but I spent a 7th of my bubble points on it. But, like, they can be compared. They're both fruits. So, no, I don't agree. Learn Phenom's lesson and put a limit to the redemption. Yeah, listen, I'm still trying to make sure that, like, Nightbot doesn't kick you out for using 2 emojis in a message. I'm happy I figured out how to make the redeems there, but you are correct. I need to do that. More things to look into as I continue my streams here in Spooptober. Venus is sometimes referred to as the morning star. I love that emoji of yours. Did you know that? Did I know that Venus was called that? I feel like I did once upon a time. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. Because I didn't remember. Everyone deserves a second chance. Do you agree? Yes. You can do anything you put your mind to. Do you agree? No. No. Obedience is more important than freedom. Do you agree? No. It is me playing this week. I get to tell you interesting things I've seen. Underwater adventures sound like a fun time. Do you agree? No, I've played Subnautica. And Raft. Do you realize the first letters of the previous question spelled the phrase I love you? The last one did end with a U, so... But I didn't realize that, no. Do you wish to be loved? Yeah, it's a weird question. Yes? I mean, I feel like that's kind of... Was that teddy bear always crying? The teddy bear always crying blood. I don't know if I trust like that. Do you wish to be loved? Yes. Have you ever felt hated? Yes. Do you have any addictions? No. I'm trying to be so chill and not affect you. Listen, I understand how these things go. I'd say no, because like I view an addiction as something that like I have a compulsive need to do and am incapable of stopping myself from doing it. And like I have things that I do because of habit, but like I can stop when needed. Because that's what I always told people when I started vaping. They were like, "Oh, you get addicted to nicotine," and I'm like, no. Because like that becomes a habit, and it's a Robbie David. I mean, that's fair. Like it's a thing I do, but like I put it down and I can wander away for weeks at a time. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think I have any addictions. Do you dislike the color pink? In what circumstance? Like, I mean, I have pink sticky notes all over my office, but I don't like wearing it. My display overlay thing is pinkish. No. Does the color gray seem to... Listen, I have gray eyes, mister. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that depressing. No. I don't think gray seems depressing. I think it's lovely. Do you enjoy loud music? Yes. Do you like to dance? Do I like... Okay. Do I like to dance? Yes. Yes. Would you consider yourself normal? Absolutely not. Do you love your parents? I do. Have you ever been lied to? Yes, absolutely I have been. Do you get angry often? All right, this is an interesting question. Do I get angry often? So we have to determine here the difference between getting angry like to a level at which I actually express anger, or like if I'm just sort of angry in my head. Because the former does not happen all that often. I don't do anger. I don't like anger. And also, like, it's more that I get frustrated. I don't get angry. Like, anger is an extreme. Like, I'll get irritated, I'll get frustrated, I'll be, like, irked. But, like, angry? No. I'm gonna say no. You hold a grudge. Oh, hell yes, I do. Have you ever forgiven someone? I have. Have you ever done something that you knew you shouldn't have done but still did it anyway? Yes. Have you ever lied? Yes. Have you ever cheated on a test? Fun story. The answer is yes. I've done it once in my entire life. It was in 6th grade. And it was the stupidest quiz ever. I hated my 6th grade teacher. I still hold a grudge against my 6th grade teacher, mainly because of part of this story. She would give us a blank map of like a country and be like, okay, fill in all the major cities and rivers and everything, all the major landmarks. My brain is Swiss cheese. I could not identify where Rome was in Italy appropriately. Like, I don't know where shit is. Certainly not when I was in 6th grade. So I was sitting next to my friend Tom, and Tom was like a big history dude. Like, I knew that he would know the answers. So and he, of course, I picked the person who like writes in microfiche because he has this itty bitty handwriting. And I like copied a couple of his answers and then started feeling too guilty about it and stopped. And then just didn't fill in the rest of the exam because I didn't know it. The only questions I got right were the ones I copied off of him. I got a 30 on the quiz. Now, as the quiz asked earlier, I consider myself a person of above average intelligence. I was a good student through all of school. I got good grades. And I was, like, in school, I was a smart kid. Like, I was one of the gifted students. So my teacher was also the social studies teacher because we would rotate for social studies, math, and science. And so apparently everyone did terribly on this quiz. And so she gets all up in arms and is like, you're my class, blah, blah, blah. You should do better on these quizzes, and blah, blah, blah. Even JC got failed the exam. I was like, are you literally calling me? I'm like 12 years old, and you're calling me out in front of the whole class. Really? Really? Even JC failed this. Screw you. And yes, I'm 36 years old, and I still remember that story. Ugh. I hated her. So yes, I have cheated on a test. You won't cheat this test. Okay. Do you think flowers are more beautiful than trees? Yes. As long as they're not picked. Have you ever wanted to be an animal instead of a person? Oh, hell yes. I want to be a cat and sleep 20 hours of the day. Do you believe you have psychic powers? Okay. Do you get angry often? I wasn't angry. I was more stunned. So this... Again, this depends on what we consider psychic powers. I don't need more hydration. Cause like, do I think I always cough? Like, do I think that I'm like telekinetic? No, well, you better fix that. Like, no, I don't have psychic ability. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm not a mind reader. But, like, I have a sixth sense for shit that is not explicable, but is consistent. And, like, to the point that even my parents, who are super skeptic about anything like that will acknowledge that my sixth sense is in fact there. So I'm going to say yes for that. Have you ever seen a ghost? I saw a ghost of a person who is not dead, but yes. Do you dream often? Actually, no. Do you have nightmares often? No. I have nightmares very infrequently. Do you suffer from anxiety attacks? Less than I used to, but yes. Do you suffer from depression? Yes. Do I exercise? No. Is there a particular type of food that you despise? Yes. I'm being called out! Would you consider yourself emotionally wounded? Yes. Fuck you, game. Have you ever felt betrayed? Yes. Ads. Rouge. Usually this thing would tell me when the ads are. That's rude. Well, I'll just wait for the ads to stop then. I'm going to analyze this room. Can I actually see it? No, I can't really see it better. Unads, cool. I'm continuing to be called out. This is Rouge. Big Rouge. Have you ever felt betrayed? Yes, I felt betrayed. Do you ever feel lost in life? Sure. Would you consider yourself a natural leader? Would I consider myself a natural leader? No. Would most people around me? Probably, but I wouldn't. If you could push a button to destroy a world, would you press it? No. I like the world for the most part. Do you sometimes dream of being a hero? Absolutely not. Have you ever been bullied? Yes. Have you ever bullied someone else? I'm going to say yes, simply because I feel like the likelihood that I did it, but did it unintentionally, is relatively high. There's only one, like, instance that I remember, like, that I could actively consider bullying, and really I didn't do anything. I just sort of enabled the thing to happen. But I'm gonna say yes, because I know that I am socially blind enough that I probably have. Would you consider yourself to be a dreamer? Yeah. Do you... See? Do you sometimes hurt people's feelings unintentionally? Absolutely. All the time. It's unfortunate. Do you find space fascinating? Yes. Would you consider yourself to be an artist? This is a long-standing, like, thing in that whether writing is considered an art. I'm gonna say yes. Do you consider yourself to be a good friend? Oh, we're really just calling me out on all of my trauma, aren't we? Do I consider myself to be a good friend? See, I hesitate on this because for a very long time the answer would have been no. Because I had some rough patches when I was in like high school and college with some unhealthy friendships. And I was quite certain that I was a terrible friend. Okay, yeah, Lilac is telling the truth. They are in my house, in my office. Um, but so yes, back in the day, I would probably have said no because I had been taught to believe that the answer was no. But even through all of that, I have always known that, like, if shit hits the fan, I am the first one there. Well, you know what? It's too bad. I look at it anyway. Um, like, I drove 14 hours from Western New York to far Western North Carolina in one day so that I could get a friend of mine away from his abusive father. I put him up with me in a hotel room for like a week so that he had a break away from his crazy household. I've donated money when I have no money to my friends. Like, if you need shit, I am there if I can be. 100%. And I've always been that way. Sometimes I haven't been able to do anything, but like, shit hits the fan, I'm there. I'm flaky as all hell, but shit hits the fan. I'm there. So I'm gonna say yes. I am a good friend. Affirmations. Yeah, I absolutely consider myself to be flawed. Have you ever fantasized about being a supervillain or performing a heinous or egregious crime? No. I mean, outside of like intrusive thoughts about driving my car off of bridges and stuff, but no. Not a fantasy. Do you believe in perfection? I do not. Have you ever stolen from someone? Probably. Almost assuredly, yes. Would you ever kill someone under any circumstances? Any circumstances? Yes. It'd have to be some real rough ones, given that I am essentially a pacifist. But, like, are there circumstances under which I would kill someone? Yes, I absolutely believe there are. If you had one day to live, would you tell anyone? I don't think I would, actually. Because I wouldn't want that to weigh on everyone else. Like, I take that day and, get whatever needs to be gotten in order. But no. I don't think I'd tell anyone. Have you ever told your darkest secrets to someone? Yeah, probably. Do you trust me even though you know nothing about me? Absolutely not! Do you know who I am? You're Igor Ivo. No. I know who you are. Do you now? If I appeared behind you right now, would you scream? Scream? Probably not, but you'd be on my treadmill, so, I mean, that's your choice. If I told you that I'd been behind you this entire time, would that scare you? No, because I can patently prove that it's not true, because I have a camera that tells me so. And also, you'd be on my treadmill. Of course not. That would be silly now, wouldn't it? Would you consider yourself to be empathetic? Yes. To an extreme degree that is unfortunate at times. Would you consider yourself to be romantic? Yes. Have you ever been in a physical fight? No. No, because I don't count a fight to me is active, has two active participants. I've been punched before, but I did not do anything. And it, like, that's all that happens. And I don't consider that a fight. But I also don't consider, like, the fights we did in stage combat as fight, because they're not real. They're stage combat. So I'm going to say no, because I haven't. I don't, like I said, I'm damn near a pacifist. I don't do that. Are you prone to headaches or migraines? I'm not, actually. Do you look at the ground when you walk? Yes, I do. Are you attracted to the opposite? Sir, I am gender fluid. Okay. How the hell am I supposed to answer this question? Don't you creepy music at me. I don't care about you. All right. So if I have to pick, it's complicated. It is complicated. If I have to pick between the binary, I would identify more as male. Thus, it is asking if I am attracted to femme people, and the answer is no. As a general rule. Would you ever shave your head? Yeah, probably. I like my hair, but I mean, I would if I needed to. Are you attracted to muscular bodies? Not really. Do you ever dance when no one is looking? Hmm? Do you trust your best friend entirely? This is a weighted question, given that one of my best friends is sitting behind me. I don't know that I trust anyone entirely, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the people that, like, earn what you're hearing about, oh dear. Like, the people who reach the echelon of best friend are very few and far between. So, like, there's a lot there, but I don't trust anyone completely. Do you remember your childhood extremely well? Not even a little. Would you rob a bank if you could get away with it? No. The guilt would eat me alive. Do you ever dream about running from a killer? Actually, yes. A couple times now. Do you ever dream about falling off a cliff? I don't think falling off a cliff has ever been a dream before, no. Do you ever dream about being naked in public? No. Do you enjoy scary movies or books? Yes. Do you enjoy comedic television shows or movies? Yes. Do you like being... Absolutely not. Do you feel like something is always watching me? No. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to go to space? I have. Have you ever had an out-of-body experience? Have I ever had an out-of-body experience? I don't think so. Have you ever punched a nun? I've not hit anyone. But no, I have not punched a nun. Do you like dogs better than cats? No. Do you prefer to read more than you prefer to watch movies? I don't really prefer one over the other. I like both of them. Are you still wondering why I asked you if you've ever punched a nun? Yes. Do you get starstruck easily? Do I get starstruck easily? Like going through all of my various interactions I've ever had with anyone that I would be starstruck by. I'm still going to say yes, because I get over a lot of things, so I'll say yes. Do you hate going to big parties socially? Yes. Yes, excuse me. Yes, I hate it. Excuse me. Is your favorite part of your birthday receiving presents? I don't really get presents for my birthday anymore. No. Seriously, though, if you ever No, I've never punched a nun. No nun punching. It's not happened. Did you laugh? Yes. Did you say what the fuck in your head are even allowed? No, I said other things, but I don't remember saying that. Are you now eager to somehow get the... No! I'm not going to punch a nun! If there's a hell do you think you're going to it? I don't know. I don't think so. I like to think I've lived my life as a pretty decent person. Do you enjoy fantasy fiction games? I do. Do you masturbate frequently? No. Are you wondering what constitutes frequently? Kind of. Are you more than slightly uncomfortable? No, a little bit. Is your mouth dry? It is not. I have been well hydrated by my lovely people in chat. And I've just done it to myself. Does profanity make you uncomfortable? Fuck no. Do you believe in legendary beasts such as the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot? Yes. Are you poor with money management? Yes and no. So I'm better than I used to be. I wouldn't say I'm poor with money management. Like, I have managed to manage my money, and I've never gone, like, bankrupt. Have I done it as well as I could? Probably not. But I wouldn't say I'm poor at it. Choose one of these numbers that you feel resonates with you most in this very moment. 21. Choose one of these colors. Blue. Choose one of these words. Vile. Vile, the wild, and the virtuous. The web is wide. Choose one of these words. Celestial. Choose one of these words. Do you enjoy solving mathematical puzzles? Not even a little. Do you speak more than one fluently? No. I speak more than one language, but not fluently. Have you ever visited a country other than your own? I have. Do you enjoy coffee? I do. Do you believe in demons? I do. Do you believe in angels? I do. Are you afraid of sharks? Honestly, not really. Like, I feel like I have a healthy level of uncertainty about sharks, but like, as a general rule, sharks don't really care about you unless you give them a reason to. And I would not give them a reason to. So, no, not really. Do you prefer baths over showers? No. Does the smell of perfume or cologne give you headaches? It depends on the perfume or cologne. Headaches, though. No. Did you see a shadow move in your room a few moments ago? I mean, I saw my friend walk out the door, but it wasn't a shadow. No. That's fortunate. Screw you! Do you ever hear your name being called even when you know no one is calling it? Yes. Do things in your home often go missing and then reappear later? Yeah, but that's just me being bad at things. Yes. Do you ever hear footsteps around you when you're alone? Yes. Do you ever hear random knocking noises? Yes. Do you often look at the same time on the clock every day? No. I mean, other than I look at the clock a lot and thus probably do, but no. Have you ever felt your feet being grabbed at night while sleeping? No. How would I know I'm asleep? Do you have any pets? Alas, for the first time in a very long time, there are no animals in my house. I do not have any pets. Is your favorite color green? It is not. Are you attracted to a family member? No. I have attractive family members, but I'm not attracted to them. If you won the lottery, would you share the money with anyone? Yeah. If you could be the dictator of your own country, would you accept the role? No. Because while I think I could do some good with it, I do not have the, mental capacity to run a country. Do you ever wonder what it would be like to be in prison? I do. Do you like fishing? Not really. Do you like hunting? Do you like camping? Do you like guns? Okay, so yes. I don't own any, but I have shotguns before and I had fun with them. I also think they're wildly dangerous and need to be better regulated. But, so yes. Are you getting tired of answering questions? Nah. I like this shit. Gimme. Would you consider yourself to be kinky? No. Eyes are the window to the soul. Do you agree? Yes. Do you always keep your promises? I try very hard, but the answer is no. Would you ever... I don't completely trust anyone who's lied to me or otherwise. It's no. 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 Are you an only child? I am. Do you ever enjoy being drunk? No. Drunk? No. Being tipsy is, can be fine, but not being drunk. Do you like tattoos? That's such a generic question. Do I... Sure. I don't dislike them. Yes. Do you enjoy being high in any form? I don't know that I've ever been high in any form. So I don't know that I can speak to it. So I guess I'll have to say no. Do you believe you have a soul? I do. Did you cry this week? Did I cry this week? I don't think so. Are you upset with someone right now? No. I don't think so. Is there someone you're not being completely honest with daily? Yes. Do you understand how this works yet? Not even remotely. If you answer the questions twice, your truths may change. It's not just about answering the questions, it's about the time you spend answering them and the combination you answer them in. Alright. It's about many different variables you'd never guess. Do you understand? Sure. Are you wondering if the end of the test is coming soon based on the previous question you just answered? Kind of. If I were to tell you that this entire process was planted here for you, specifically you, to learn something about yourself and anyone else that bothers using this as just a byproduct of its intention, would you believe that? Not even remotely. Are you afraid of being abandoned? Yes. Are you afraid of dying alone? We all die alone. Do you worry that one day you'll be unexpectedly murdered? I have anxiety. I mean, so, yes, question mark. I suppose I do worry that someday I will be unexpectedly murdered, but that's because anxiety. Yes. Are you always on guard waiting to fend off an attack? Fend off attack. No, I'm not. Do you feel like I know you yet? No. Have you heard any strange noises while answering these questions, other than the no, I have other than the like music in the headphones? No, I have not heard any strange noises. I think we have enough information about you. Whether you skipped questions, answered honestly or dishonestly, took loads of time to respond, or answered quickly without reading or understanding properly, I've been able to tell. Calculating your results, analyzing you very carefully, judging you. Based on what you've told me, this is what I can conclude. What? People would do real well to start taking you a bit more seriously and listening to you a lot more often. What? Your intelligence is incredibly incredibly underrated even by your own standards. If a zombie apocalypse were ever to occur, you'd be everyone's best friend because their relationship with you wouldn't be an option. It would simply be a necessity to survive. I doubt that very strongly. You have so much to offer this world and those around you, but you absolutely must make your talents and knowledge readily available. People are often too afraid to ask you for your opinion at times. Even when they do, they're afraid of your truths. You're not like others. You're special. Not everyone is going to cut it in this life, and that's an unfortunate fact. But you. Now you, on the other hand, are going to thrive no matter what happens. You've got what it takes to take any project to the next level, whether it's working on your own or part of it as a team. You're underrated. You're underappreciated, and you're often misunderstood. It's not fair, but life isn't fair, and it never will be. Life will always be what you make it, and you've got some insane amounts of potential. Ultimately, it's still up to you what you decide to do with it. One thing I will say, however, is that you need to snap out of the false reality that you tend to live in sometimes. The world you've managed to escape to in your head, while much better than the world around you, is not going to get you anywhere in life. Actions are what make things happen. Actions will take you to the next level, not just sitting in your head all day long. Let this be the swift kick in the ass you need to be productive and take things to the next level. Don't waste any more time, just kick ass and allow yourself the successful life you deserve. The fuck? I'm sorry, what? I don't appreciate this game. Take the secret word that was assigned to you. Yeah, this game is old, so I don't think that's, like... Don't be afraid, this is an opportunity.
you're doing great.
There are ads going.
Yeah. You have another 20 seconds. How old is this game?
How old is this game? That's a good question. Let's see. Store page. This game came out in 2020. February 24th, 2020. Ads done. What? Jesus Christ. Right, yeah. Came out right before the world fell apart. I don't know. How am I supposed to continue on from here? I've only been streaming for like what, half an hour? An hour? An hour. I started at 7.
An hour and 9 minutes.
Right. That both took longer and not as long as I expected it to. Why do I feel like... I think I have the other ones, but I don't know that they're installed. Actually, this is like available in the rest of the world, right? Yeah, I can download this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna play a different game for the rest of the stream, because this is a demo and we can probably get through a demo or two. Yeah, they're sitting behind me. I just need to see if... No, okay, it's not picking up the picture. Oh, because it's... No? No work? Okay. Give me... Yes. Oh, it's too big. It's far too big. Now it is too small. All right. Yes, the boys and the they. This is Touch Starved. It is a delightful game. It is... it was kickstarted. It is in progress. I don't think it's scheduled to come out until like 2025, 2026. But they have this demo, and it's amazing. Has my stream updated? Why does it just look like it's frozen? It does look like it's frozen. Interesting. Hold, please. Hold on. If I make that go away. That doesn't work. See, but you're just showing that picture. You're not actually showing the game. Why? Hey, you're still just showing this. Well, now you've taken over my entire screen. That was unnecessary. Does it change if I do this? No. Alright, well, I have a new idea then.
See your mouse from here.
I go, what? You can see what?
I can see your mouse from here.
Oh, my mouse. I was like, what are you talking about? Alright, new idea. So we're going to do... Sure, but not that big, please. And also, you need to go down here. There we go. Okay. Disclaimers. Streamers and content creators should turn music down to 0. Okay. This is a demo, not the finished project. Thank you. TouchStarve is intended for an older audience. It contains mature content that it includes, but is not limited to, horror, graphic violence, strong language, alcohol, drug references, injury, dismemberment. Cool. We're going to change this. Let chat pick your person. Oops. All right, updated that. If you accept the content warning, yes. In TouchStarve, your choices matter. The decisions you make may result in unique dialogue, interactions, or even choices in red text which contain exclusive content. Try playing through the demo more than once and choosing different options. You might even uncover a secret ending. And remember, there are no wrong choices, only interesting ones. Choose wisely and save often. Yeah, I know. Enter my name. JC. Actually, I'm going to be Jameson for this. Alright, let me... There. Make the music go away. Choose your pronouns. He, him. Thank you. This world began to unravel long before you were born. It began with fogfall. Spectral mist bled from the seams where reality wore so thin it split. And from that fog emerged monsters, inhuman beings with unnatural powers. Some possessed language and intellect. Others were mindless beasts driven by little more than the desire to slaughter. As cities fell and unrest spread, humans united in their fear while monsters thrived in the chaos. And then there's you. Oh, that does that. You're not even sure if you're human. You were born cursed, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Choose your backstory. Cool. All right, I'm pretty sure... I know Lilac and I have played this a couple times. I want to say we've played as a mage and an oracle? Question mark? Oracle and thief. Okay. I thought we'd been a mage at some point. Maybe I was a mage at some point. I'm gonna be an oracle. Your name is Jameson. You selected he, him pronouns. Your backstory is the unnamed. Is this correct? Yes. That me. The wasteland stretches as far as the eye can see. There's nothing out here but death. the ever-present stench of decay, and countless sun-bleached bones cast like seeds across the barren land. I could say death doesn't scare me, but to tell the truth, I'm desperate. It's been 2 weeks since I joined a caravan bound across the wastes. Finding a group that would accept me was a trial in itself. As rations grew sparse and my canteen ran dry, I began to despair. But then I saw it. Iridia, the city of knowledge. One of the last bastions of humanity left in the world, and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my curse, it's there. All that stands between me and a cure is a final stretch of salt-soaked wastes. Or so I think, until I see the first tendrils of fog snaking beneath the wagon. Is this fogfall? My stomach sinks at the very whisper of it. A silent storm more devastating than fire, dangerous in cities, but a death sentence beyond them. A thick blanket of fog engulfs us, smothering out the lantern's light. The wagon lurches to a stop. An eerie silence heavy as the mist falls over us. The only warning we get is a strangled scream. "Stay back! No!" The cry dissolves into wet gurgling. Then the wagon violently pitches to the side. I hit the ground hard, the air punched from my lungs. When I open my eyes, adrenaline lends sudden, awful clarity to the carnage around me. Looks the same as before. A trader I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud, their back reduced to long strings of torn muscle, gleaming gristle, and exposed bone. Bodies litter the wasteland. A friend! I try to rise, but my ankle explodes with pain so blinding white blooms across my vision. Only when my eyes adjust do I see the dark shape in front of me. Friend! A soulless stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. The art in this game is excellent. I freeze, but it swivels its head. A dozen bulging eyes twitch in my direction and blink as one. The soulless lets out an ear-splitting shriek and runs at me. But right before it reaches me, the beast barrels past, vanishing into the mist. Distantly, a horse screams in the dark. I need to move now. Fuck that, run for the city. I take off, running deeper into the haze. The fog is so thick that I fear I'm headed in the wrong direction until I see a dim pinprick of light emanating from the shadow of a spire. It's faint, but it's enough. I came too far to die here. Rapid footsteps echo all around me. I turn in circles, frantically searching the opaque mist for the source, but the fogfall twists and stretches sound. Suddenly, the caravaner's driver bursts forth from the fog. Our eyes meet too late. He slams into me, knocking me to the ground, and slips in a patch of mud. The soulless falls on him as soon as he slows. It catches the driver by his throat and rakes his stomach with razor-sharp claws. He comes apart like wet paper, spilling intestines and viscera in a steaming tide. Fighting the urge to heave, I claw frantically through the slippery muck for a handhold. Now I'm covered in blood. Shit! My hand catches on the jagged edge of a rib jutting up from the water. Bandages unfurl around the gouge torn deep into my palm. The pain's quickly forgotten when a hand closes around my wrist. Can you stand? One of the travelers from the caravan leans over me. We need to run. They reach for my hand and I realize too late that my bandages have come undone. No, don't touch me! The sensation of their thumb brushing the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch, and in the space of a breath, my curse takes hold. Their lips peel back into a deranged grin. No. I've seen this face countless times before. This is my curse. Madness of my own making. Their grip on my hand tightens until pain radiates from my knuckles. Let me go. Suddenly, clammy hands crush my throat, choking off my breath. Die! Die, 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 die! Spit bubbles at the corners of their mouth and flecks my face. The edges of my vision darken as my lungs scream for air. I don't think I'm going to... Help me. Fight them off. My nails gouge deep into the traveler's wrist, but no matter how much blood I draw, they don't flinch. The more I struggle, the tighter their grip grows. My pulse hammers in my ears, slowing with each thudding beat. This can't be happening. I'm going to die, and not because of the fogfall or the soulless, but because of my own curse. Tears sting my eyes. No, 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 not here. Not like this. The hands drop from my neck, leaving me wheezing for air. My lungs burn with each ragged cough. My vision clears and the traveler's face takes shape, hovering inches from mine, lips still split in that macabre smile, even as blood seeps between their teeth. They give one last shuddering breath, then slump over the claws hooked through their stomach. The soulless shoves the body aside, and the glowing eyes studying its leathery skin thin as though grinning. There's a flash of claws. Red spill across my vision. I thought there'd be pain. But as I sink into the murky water, all I can feel is the grit of silt filling my mouth and the icy embrace of shallow water. Distantly, I notice an arm resting among an outcrop of reeds. Mine, neatly severed at the elbow. It should have taken both arms. Without them, maybe I could have survived. Maybe I could have had a home. Instead, I'll die cold, alone, and face down in a desolate wasteland. A fitting end for monstrosity like me. And game. GG, double N's in the chat. If this is death, it's not as bad as It's not as bad as I feared. Can you please not be right there? There we go. I could drift forever, cocooned in oblivion until all thought and sensation vanished. No curse, nobody howling at me in madness and terror, nothing at all. The thought has a terrible appeal to it. But the next moment I take a reflexive breath. Air pours into my lungs and then out again in a ragged gasp. Feeling comes flooding back. Warm cloth on my bare skin. A firm surface underneath me. A strange tang of sulfur in the air. Do not be afraid. It's an angel! Oh, hello. You could pass for an angel. I twist my head toward the voice. Tears flood my bleary vision at the bright glow of lamplight. Try not to move. The voice is calm, steady, and commanding. But more importantly, it's a stranger's voice. One thought cuts through my mental fog. I have no idea who this is, and I'm completely at their mercy. Robot face, I regret everything. Stay away from me. Stay away from me. My words come out in little more than a creaky whisper. I clamp my mouth shut, hating how weak and helpless I sound. No. No? Who the hell is this? Honestly, I'd try to sit up. I manage to push myself up on one elbow, but my head swims and my surroundings give an alarming lurch. Ah, a stubborn patient. I don't have the strength to dignify that with a response. Instead, I pull the sheet up higher and wipe my eyes until my vision clears. Hello, lovely. Look at you with all your hair. The stranger towers over my prone form. Warm light reflects off his pristine medical coat. Can we take a moment and appreciate this lovely piece of art? Not only is he gorgeous, but the art in this game is impeccable. Ah. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I instinctively shrink back, and that's when I notice I'm completely naked except for a thin linen sheet. Naked, lying on a low cot with a pair of sharp golden eyes watching my every move. The man's gaze flickers to my exposed, unbandaged hands. I plunge my hands under the sheet to hide them from sight, though it's too late. He must have noticed what they look like. Strange, cursed, inhuman. I brace myself for his inevitable suspicion and disgust, but his expression doesn't even flicker from that courteous smile. He just watches, in placid silence, as I struggle to make sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Who are you? Be calm. You are safe here. Whoever he is, he clearly has no idea who or what I am. I've never been safe anywhere with anyone. Even the shrine of my childhood, the one sanctuary I ever knew, turned out to be a horrific lie. I scowl, pulling the sheet protectively around myself. Where are my clothes? The man's golden eyes narrow slightly. A sharp sigh rustles the papers in his hands. I see you are not to be dissuaded. Your clothes were torn to shreds when I found you, but I procured replacements. With a soft creak, he stands from his chair, giving me a better view of my surroundings. I seem to be in some sort of medical clinic. Bottles of silvery alchemical concoctions line the counters in neat rows. The air makes my nose twitch, a faint whiff of smoke and something distinctly metallic that I can't quite place. The doctor produces a large, dense bundle of cloth, which he sets at the foot of my cot. He's easily a head taller than most, and I have to crane my neck to look up at him. You know, honestly, he's the one who put me here. This man's seen me naked already. He doesn't need to leave. Right. It's gorgeous. Thank you. I should be polite if I can, especially since I don't know... Yes. I don't know who this is, what he can do, or what he wants with me. Meeting his gaze sends a hot frisson down my spine. Something about him nags at me like a half-formed memory I can't place. Thank you. You are welcome. I will leave you to get dressed. Look at his hair! Look at his hair! Urgh. With a curt nod, he leaves through a narrow door. I hear a soft click as the lock turns behind him. I count to 3 in the sudden silence. When I don't hear any more footsteps, I reach for the bundle of clothes. An itch on my elbow stops me short. I reach down absently to rub at it, then freeze when my fingers meet a neat line of stitches. I know what I saw. That beast took my arm clean off. And yet, my arm shows no sign of injury apart from the black stitches poking through my skin. I gingerly flex my fingers, feeling my heart race at the sensation. This is impossible. I should be dead, or at the very least, gasping out my last breaths. I squeeze my eyes shut, waiting for the pleasant dream to unravel, to wake up bleeding out in the swamp. But nothing happens. The seconds tick by, and my arm remains resolutely healed, my surroundings pristine and quiet. In numb disbelief, I reach for the replacement clothes and begin stiffly pulling them on. They're thicker and warmer than mine were, with a black woolen cloak to go with them. But there's still one thing missing. My bandages. The golden-eyed man didn't leave me with any, even though I know he saw my hands. I slide off the bed and take a few unsteady steps toward one of the drawers. If this is indeed a doctor's clinic, there must be bandages somewhere. I start opening drawers at random, and of course that's when the door swings open once more. Are you looking for something? I whirl around, clutching a thick roll of clean bandages. I try to step back from him, but my legs bump up against the edge of the cot. Your caution is understandable, though if I meant you any harm, you would know. That doesn't make me feel better in the slightest, but he makes no move toward me, so I quickly wind the bandages around my hands. The glowing scars and mottled skin disappear under a layer of clean white cotton. Queen light cotton. May I ask why you need additional bandages? I clench my jaw. I knew it would only be a matter of time before he asked about my hands, though the way he does it is strangely roundabout. All of these are the same answer. Amusingly, I just picked up my drink anyway. I'm going to decline to answer. Well, that's a very personal question, and I don't really want to answer. Is that so? Surely you realize that I can only help you if you tell me what ails you. An involuntary snort of laughter escapes me. Where would I even begin? Would he even believe me if I told him? No, best to keep my curse to myself for now and learn more about him first. Who are you? You may call me Kuras. And where exactly am I? Iridia, which I assume was your caravan's destination. I can think of nowhere else for a group of travelers to go. Iridia. So I... Fine. So I made it to the City of Knowledge after all. I should feel relieved, but all I can manage is a vague sense of increasing unease. How did I end up here? I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment. Which you provided. Yes. He says it so simply, as if I'm a small child and he's explaining basic addition to me. I frown and flex the fingers on my recently healed arm. Aside from being a bit stiff, it feels fine. Thoroughly attached to me. You're saying you stitched my arm back on. Pardon? A soulless attacked the caravan. It ripped everyone to shreds. It tore my arm clean off. But when I woke up here... I trail off, bewildered. I've never heard of any magic that could heal a mortal wound like that. What kind of a person could do such a thing? The doctor, Kuras, pinches the bridge of his nose. He sits back down in his chair, quiet for a long time. I do not know where you come from, but Iridia is the city of knowledge and deadly secrets alike. Information is power, and it is most unwise to give or receive it freely. Since you have refused to divulge your secrets, I will not divulge mine. I do not even know your name. You are new to Iridia, so I will overlook this specific breach of etiquette. However, you should not expect others to extend the same courtesy. Do you understand? He looks pointedly at my freshly bandaged hands. More ads! Rouge.
We have about a minute.
My mic doesn't turn off during the ads.
Oh, well. Too bad for everyone then.
I mean, no one can see us because no one subscribed to me, but that's fine.
I can see you.
You can see me, yes. Waiting for the ads to finish.
Okay.
Ad's done. He looks pointedly at my freshly bandaged hands. Loath though I am to admit it, he has a point. I'm also a complete stranger to him, and if he's telling the truth, he saved my life. I take a deep, steadying breath. This time when I speak, I sound a bit more like myself. Jameson. My name is Jameson. It is a pleasure to meet you, Jameson. There's a little more warmth in his smile, his polite demeanor back in an instant. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for saving my life. I chance a smile in return. Even if he won't explain how he did the impossible, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd be dead if not for Kuras. Think nothing of it. I'm not sure if he's just being excessively courteous, but his words only raise more urgent questions. But I have to ask, why did you save me? You don't know me. The question seems to startle Kuras. I could hardly leave you to die in the wastes. Assisting those in need is the very essence of a doctor's duty. I've never met a doctor who also handed out free clothes. My fingers find the edge of the cloak. There's a subtle but delicately embroidered pattern around the hem. I try not to think about what kind of price Kuras might ask for such well-made clothes. No, I suppose not. Forgive my presumption. I rarely come across so fascinating a patient. I blink. What did he just say? I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely, or brave such a perilous journey to Iridia. I could not help being curious about you, Jameson. His voice dips to a soft murmur, and he abruptly looks away from me. You're pretty curious yourself. You're pretty curious yourself. Am I? Well, I haven't forgotten about my arm. I wiggle my intact fingers at him. Clearly not. But you haven't asked me for any payment either. I require none from you. Travelers do not have an abundance of coin, and it would be unethical to leave you destitute in a strange place. The man bleeding out in the swamp. Damn, he hot, huh? I fall silent, unsure what to say to that. Nobody would help a horror like me for free. There has to be some kind of catch or trick, right? A loud knock at the front door stops our conversation cold and spares me from having to say anything else. Duty calls. Unfortunately, you are not my only patient today. The knocking grows more insistent, and Kuras lets out a tired sigh. Please wait your turn. Though he says it quietly, the clamor on the other side of the door abruptly stops. Do you need anything before you leave, Jameson? Oh. Between the soulless attack and my miraculous survival, I'd almost forgotten why I came to Iridia in the first place. I need directions to the Cenobium. The Cenobium? The look on his face is downright chilling. He pauses, choosing his words with cold deliberation when he speaks again. Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely you will find it there. The Cenobium's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. My heart sinks. Is he saying that I came all this way for nothing? Risked life and limb for nothing? No, that can't be. I've only just arrived, and Iridia is the largest city still standing. There has to be a cure for me here. Then if not the Cenobium, where would you suggest? Do you know anyone else in Iridia? I shake my head. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wet Wick and ask for Leander. Excuse me, the wet what? The Wet Wick. He sounds deeply unamused. Follow the postings advertising Leander's bloodhounds. They are difficult to miss. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. That isn't much to go on, but Karas points toward the clinic's back door. You will be safe, so long as you do not draw attention to yourself. That's easier said than done. I've always been a magnet for the worst sort of attention. If you require my assistance, you may return whenever you wish. Though he's smiling, there's a note of finality in his voice. Resigned to my dismissal, I slip out the back door. I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. I pull the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the contents of chamber pots that have been emptied into the streets. Something weighs heavily inside one of the cloak's pockets. My coin purse. Everything is still inside, every last coin that I'd scraped together for the journey to Iridia. It doesn't even look like it was opened. There were so few coins to begin with, they probably weren't worth stealing. I glance back at the clinic's closed door. Karas didn't take any payment. He didn't even ask for a future favor. But he also said that in Iridia, secrets are power. Does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly a comforting thought. Still, no matter why he did it, Karas gave me a second chance and a lead on where I might find help. I better get going, before he changes his mind. I squeeze out of the alley and into the crowded main street. The line outside Karas' clinic stretches down the road already. 2 thin peddlers queue alongside weathered elders. If any place is in desperate need of a free clinic, it's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough under my feet, deep grooves worn between them by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Iridia was a river city, but I didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated, all crammed together in narrow streets. And there's something else, a charge in the air like a shift in pressure before the storm. It's subtle, little more than a faint, persistent thrumming, but I can't seem to shake it. A child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over to me. My stomach gives a faint gurgle. This morning's catch, fried up, hot and fresh, not too many eyeballs today. That sounds disgusting. But I'm starving, so I duck my head under the stall's grubby awning. A large fish leers up at me, its 3 bulging eyes still visible through the thick layer of crispy batter. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you've got? The vendor points at a metal basket of what looks like long strips of savory fried dough. Bonnie said that eyeballs are on the menu. That's about it, too. Fresh long lads, 3 copper apiece. Don't burn your mouth. I take the coins out, counting them gingerly. At this rate, I might not even be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying riot of color, painted walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways. Musical voices call out invitingly. Incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Iridia's entertainment district. I'm polishing off my food and dusting the crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto, as above, so below, circles the artwork. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around a corner and nearly hit my head on a precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read, The Wet Wick. The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. Bustling bars are not something I'm used to, but I steel myself with a deep breath before pushing forward. A cursory glance doesn't turn up anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show! 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 The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and their booths to rush toward the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught, swept along in the ale-stenched current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as the press of bodies grows heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself. But the crowd has stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Seriously, you dogs? Again? Scattered laughter and cheers rise from the audience. I drag my eyes upward. My boy! My boy! Love this man. A well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. This really is the last time, all right? This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent, as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or rich, low voice. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink, or you'll miss it. He laughs, and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I've found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light, real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the mage towering above me. He flicks his wrist, and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers. The audience bursts into clapping and cheers. A genuine magic show was the last thing I expected from a place called the Wet Wick. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet out of the air and turns in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now who could use some good luck? Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach for the lilies while others whistle and call Leander's name. But his cool green eyes slide right over to them, locking on me instead. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. I'm taking the fucking flowers. Cute man hands me flowers, I take flowers. I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. Known family rule. Attractive man hands you something, you take it. Or offers to carry something for you. Take up the offer. There's no weight to them, only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims. They fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me, and I find myself smiling back. Leander steps off the table, dropping among the excited crowd with an audible clink. All right, bloodhounds, get back to your drinks. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded counter. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulder presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? He says it lightly with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get you? Surprise me, and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. Sippy. You know what? We'll be. What's the word I want? Impulsive. We're gonna have what he's having. I'll have what he's having. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbows on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. His eyes wander over me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here come the questions. So what brings you to the Wick? Kuras sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls right back into place. So, it's about work. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses filled with what I can only assume is beer. I raise my glass and give it an experimental sniff. It smells faintly yeasty, but with an undercurrent I can't quite place. A quick sip confirms my worst suspicions. It's awful. Somehow briny and sour in a way that reminds me of pickles. But any thought of complaining dies the moment I look up and see Leander taking a deep swig from his glass. He lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twist around in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the cenobium in here? Throw him out, this is bloodhound territory. The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning the cenobium. Did Kuras's reaction not twig you to this? When I glance at Leander, he's drinking as though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags a hand down his face. Keep it down, will you? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhounds silently return to their drinks. Only a handful continue to watch me warily. Sorry about them. The cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mix in enough drinks and, well, you saw. How about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, he pushes away from the bar counter. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the wet wick, where layers of frayed Bloodhounds posters have been plastered to the walls. Will PC ever learn in the demo? No, they will not. Correct. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Kuras didn't send you here for help with the cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I find an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyway. What do you need the cenobium for? I don't want to tell him about my curse. The less people know about my capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold here. Kuras told you the truth. The cenobium's dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. But the cenobium's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The Cenobium has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the Cenobium. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think. The things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, and yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, then what now? Leander clears his throat. But, as I always say, there are solutions to every problem and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Caress pointed you to the Bloodhounds. Let us help you. Whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables, we can do it all. And free of charge. I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Leander nods slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious. And if the Cenobium's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? When my eyes widen, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out. That is, if you'll tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for the Cenobium, but he is a mage, and a powerful one at that if his demonstration earlier is any indication. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people, hurts them. Before I've even finished, Leander begins taking his glove off. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. PC is also a powerful witch can touch. Just hideous laughter. Yeah, that's about it. Let's see it. He offers me his hand, and a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm, but I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is. I can't bring myself to hurt him, to see his kind face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you came from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in this city, you'll see 1,000 curses and thrice as many cures. Do you really think Kuros would send you here if I couldn't handle it? How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in the Cenobium. Better, even. If they can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. Then, with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandages from my hand. Fine. But if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first if it makes you feel better. With each joint I expose, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea. Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. Touch. I tap his palm once, as quickly as possible. It's barely more than a brush, but that's all it ever takes. When I look at his face, expecting to see the worst, Leander only grins. See? It can't be. This time when I reach out to touch Leander's palm again, he catches my wrist before I can pull away. I told you. There's really nothing to worry about. He trails off when my thumb brushes the soft skin of his inner wrist. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still, except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. Neither of us speak, as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in an awareness I wasn't prepared for. I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced with them, and more. But not like this. My fingers, long deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I've lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. I'm not letting him go. Are you kidding me? My hand glides over Leander's wrist and up his forearm where smooth skin abruptly gives way to the raised scar by the edge of his sleeve. It matches the one that runs from his collar to cheekbone. Could it be the same wound? I glance at Leander's face and his lips part as he considers his words before speaking. Am I the first person you've been able to touch like this? My hand goes still on his arm. So far. I'll admit your touch does make it somewhat difficult to stay level-headed, but not due to your power. He takes my hand. His soft green eyes flick to mine before he turns it to inspect the golden fissures crisscrossing my knuckles. Look, we match. He points at a golden pin on his coat collar, and I give him a small smile. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Man doesn't even hide the stuff it feels, so I love Leander. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? I'm Jameson. You were right to hide this from me, Jameson. That curse of yours, it's unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you'd best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I pause. Room and board was something I hadn't yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled then. The Wetwick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or in a few cases fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know how I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. And I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend Jameson. Sure. Stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small, but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, Jameson. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers. But if you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come and find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. The air clings, sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Kuras and Leander both made it clear that the Cenobium can't be trusted. But I came so far, endured so much. In the end, it didn't even matter. I need to see the Cenobium for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving, 'cause that would have gone well. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until a puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped as though the slightest movement or a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No. I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. Hello. A monster. That much is clear from a glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for human were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle. Or the dusk pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet, and the monster uncrosses his long legs. Hello there, sir. His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood where it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin up on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beasts I've seen are the Wick's drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears dangling from his finger. It turns on its chain, glittering where it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets, and sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his finger, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Where'd you find it? How did you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. A bald-faced lie said without a hint of irony. I didn't drop my key, and I didn't sense any magic either. He must have stolen it somehow. I approach the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clinks with a tilt of his head. His ears flick. Keeping your distance. I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key? From all the way over here? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? He's got me there. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spent traveling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Whoops. Oh, no! Come back. Come back. Come back. There we go. Or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely and I might even let you tug my tail. Just throw it here. So some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here. So tell me, stranger, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen? I wonder. He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick toward me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. No, I'm turning it down. Are you done? Or did you plan on flirting with me until night falls? He touches his chest in mock affront. You wound me. How can you be so immune to my charms? I'm a known monster consorter. You're about as charming as an ox and half as subtle. I suggest you go practice your seduction on someone interested. That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. How about you teach me the ropes? Show me a thing or two. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me this one's more dangerous than he lets on. Even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me. But I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard, unless you beg me. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their lutist is utterly exquisite, truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally. This dump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. Hightown, Lowtown, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about the Cenobium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it. That absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. Cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. One day PC little heard, but not today. I can show you things those stiffy boars in their limp dick tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh? Have you some pressing matters at the Cenobium? Lunch dates with librarians? Tea time with the most esteemed abbess? That's my business. What's the matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand toward me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key. But as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. Hey! He yanks me down and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them, even as his fingers dig into my arm. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death and the road. And that fucking doctor. Sir. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go! I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both. Veer! The stranger's ears flatten and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her pressed uniform marks her as a cleric of the Cenobium. I leave you for all of 10 minutes and you're making trouble again. Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, Veer I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Veer cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger is drawn to you like a moth to flame. It will always find you given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice, don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the streets. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs off a wilting look from Veer. Oh, please, any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Veer rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly it dawns on me that the jingling I heard wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. Veer posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. The woman produces a keyring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless you have friends tagging along on our merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for soulless inside the city? Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite if tight smile before marching down the stairs. Veer lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed. Veer hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Joventian knot? That's the one where you take 3 fingers? Actually, don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Veer's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from sight that I realize I'm still missing something. Wait! Reflexively, I shove my hands into my pockets and find it. The room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts from my relief. I don't know what Veer's game was or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the Cenobium saw fit to leash him. A fate I could share, if that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze to the cenobium, faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, then I can put this all behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill toward the distant tower. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for. The cenobium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the grates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the cenobium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. My stomach gives an uneasy lurch. Though far grander than the humble shrine of my youth, the cenobium gives the same impression of being a gilded birdcage. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't know any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine as if testing its strength. "Oi! You there!" The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps toward me. "Ugh, another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking." A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing, just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. "Hello." A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten, and I'm unable to take my eyes off her. Not because of the way she smiles a little too widely or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days you'd need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond or if I even should. Her gaze is uncomfortably fixed on me, heavy as lead. "Seems like I'm in the market for a miracle. Know anyone selling?" She beams at me like I've said the greatest thing she's ever heard. "Lucky for you, I have them for free." Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. "No, thanks." I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What are you... As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? Whatever disease this woman had ate away at her from the inside out. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet... The power to cure anything can be yours, too. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the cenobium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there, wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle. but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision of my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the Cenobium's shut gates, then follow her down the steps. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, then farther still, until I'm met with an all-too-familiar sight. My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it. But venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. This has to be a setup. As soon as I step out there, some friends of yours will ambush and mug me. If I wanted something from you, I would already have it. She says it so lightly I almost believe her, even if she looks as physically capable as a toothpick. You're as safe inside the city as out of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Aias. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. They're all my boy. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently, I'm both. But if this sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Jameson. I hope we meet again. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. Good luck. Aias is very much. Yeah. It doesn't take me long to realize it's not the only heartbeat I hear. Like a nagging thought at the back of my mind, I can sense another pulse thrumming through the earth beneath my feet. I felt this presence before, when I first stepped out of Kuras's clinic. A living dread coursing underneath the city. Only this time I'm getting closer to it. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward, one step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building, nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless. Several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think. I just run. Exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me toward that decorated building. Flashes of last night chase me. The gushes of blood and screams of death, the smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. I gasp for lungs. I gasp for lungs. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth, but the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. Hello? Hello? Is anyone here? My voice echoes across the cavern without response. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for the topmost. I reach for a note that's higher up. It reads, "No one will read this, but it's not for anyone else. This is evidence I existed in this rotten, grim world." Even so, I wish I could have stayed longer. The bog girl will be lonely without me. I should have told her how it... The rest is scratched out. I wonder who wrote this. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty. Vacant. Finally, I look toward the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper. Something wrong. Something familiar. It's watching me. Hey! I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly. All different sizes and species, but sharing one identical trait. Glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. My boy! You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over. First with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, massive shapes like tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless' growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey! Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? Fuck you. I look right into his unnerving eyes, holding his gaze defiantly. Fuck you. Is that better? A crooked grin cracks across his face. We'll work on it. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking, posturing more than anything else. Almost as if they're waiting for commands. Did you tame them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. I called out earlier to see if anyone was here. Were we supposed to play hide and seek? Didn't hear you. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. Tell me what you want. I'm not in the mood for guessing games. Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hand...
That's right.
For my durst.
For your About 30.
Nothing else. The ads give me a chance to rest my voice for a little bit. Forgot how long this demo is. It's wonderful. It's just long. Huh?
Hydrate, don't die straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done?
Mhm.
Cool. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well. The hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the C-spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. I'm hovering above the C-spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're Ias, aren't you? Depends on who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ias picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the C-spring, then dumps the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. What do you need the C-spring's power for? Depends. Can it cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The C-spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink? I have to drink from the C-spring. My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. Is there a price? Always. Ias taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it? Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the C-spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. My attendants used to tell me that my power granted people access to a higher plane of understanding, a group mind of my own making. All lies. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Aya strides past me toward the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Game on a bad day. Got somewhere to be. There's still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told here to come for help, and instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ias's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ias approaches a nearby Solus, a lanky, dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ias squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratches its chin, and pats its head. A gentle smile plays along Ias's lips. The affection he holds for the Solus is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Ias's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the Solus warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the Solus at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ias's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Outside, more crimson-eyed Solus scuttle about. It's hard to believe they're the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the Solus looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. I can't sense that massive heartbeat anymore. Maybe it was all in my head. The Solus sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. I pap. Pap, pap, pap. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the Solus's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Ias had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. Its vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the Solus spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I'd thought were impossible. Tamed Solus being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city, labyrinthine even in daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing toward the wet wick. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something is wrong. The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement. But the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder. Maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. Our friend! The soulless that attacked the caravans. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape. A body. A garland of intestines spilled from pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For a mercy, the soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the soulless raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its bulging eyes fix unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. I've only one option. Run. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, a piercing bay splits the silence, and heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arms swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way. A dead end. When I turn around, the soulless looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running. Doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... Try the nearest door. I whirl, grabbing the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope, before a weight hits the door from the other side and it slams shut. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. But the impact never comes. I warily crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. Hello! Moonlight silvers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are spattered with blood. And the soulless. My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well, I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part on the brink of a question, then close again. With a strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. Something about them is strange, unlike any human or monster I've ever met. Can't quite place my finger on why. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the Solus's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize that I saw their hooded silhouette at the cenobium. You're shorter than I thought. You saved me. I don't care if they were at the cenobium or not. No, yeah, I do. I've seen you before. You were at the cenobium earlier, weren't you? They cast a wary look at me. So what if I was? Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me, and now they scold me? Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the Solus's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Jameson. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. The blade flashes as they drive it into the back of the Solus's neck. The Solus thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper until there's a sickening crunch, and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. Must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. I swallow, my eyes still glued to the cooling corpse. Why is a Solus inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Solus can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. The cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Social grace of a cantaloupe. Yeah, that's about it. Let me guess. You're not a fan of the cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows and they sheathe their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in this city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that Solus, and you were in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is stingingly harsh. Just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. All right, I get it. I'd love to stay out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? You've already helped me once tonight, why not a second time? That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Jameson. I turn, surprised by the voice. Kuras walks down the street toward us. His white and gold clothing is pristine despite this grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solus was your work. That's about it. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity with the way they regard each other. You know them, Kuras? Min is a freelancer who has done a few errands for me. They are quite reliable. Unreliable freelancers don't eat. Jameson needs to get back to wherever he's staying before he wanders into the jaws of another Solus. It is late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Jameson? I'm staying at the Wetwick. Both their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district? That gaudy cesspit? Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste when Kuras leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Kuras is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Kuras hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wetwick. The route Kuras takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through darkened streets and twisting alleys. It seems like half the city is poured into the Amaryllis' district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wetwick. Its doors hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves toward the door and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Ugh, fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. As soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the Wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Kuras stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Kuras glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Kuras at a clipped pace. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shocks of the evening in rapid succession. Ayas leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents, magically congealed, stay firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. Veer, perched on the bar's counter beside Ayas, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Veer's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Ayas offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff and Ayas just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Ayas throws his head back and downs the shot. Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ayas' face. It's chewy. Chewy? Wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Kuras and Min. At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt before Kuras sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Kuras' hand to his face, then soften. Fine, you first. Zippy. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All of the people I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander, Ayas. Another drinking competition, I presume. Oh, is it evening already? Could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Kuras acknowledges Leander and Aias with a slight nod, ignoring Veer entirely. Not that Veer seems to mind. He tilts his head and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Kuras. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Min pushes back their hood. They level Veer with a cool look. I thought Aias wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Veer's tail gives an angry twitch. At the first sign of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter. He slides in between Aias and Kuras. No, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Kuras' shoulders. You are finally taking me up on that drink, right, Kuras? I am afraid not. We were merely escorting Jameson back to his lodgings. Kuras gestures in my direction and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Jameson! It's been too long. Everyone, this is Jameson. He's new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fix onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. We've already met. Actually, I've already met everyone. You've already met? Aias and Veer level me with subtly amused expressions. Veer's tail gives a lazy wag. We did. Not that long ago, either. I'm starting to suspect he's stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? Look at this great picture. Look at all these guys. And non-gendered guys. People. Non-gendered lads. In an instant, all eyes turn to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. Ha! Well, color me surprised. You make friends fast, Jameson. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances. A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man? You said that. Here, last week. I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues unperturbed. Let's toast to Jameson's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Kuras politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces the din of the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. Veer looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label has been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Veer pauses in the middle of licking champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Aias cants his head to me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. Rude of the ads. Rouge. I know. It's about time to wrap up. But I know the demo's almost over, too.
Yeah, you're about there.
Which means the timing worked out remarkably well. Given that I wasn't planning on doing this. Womp, 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 womp. You did say I had ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my brain's like, wait.
You're good now.
Cool. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. No. My treat. Ias regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What'll it be, Jameson? Yeah, I'll take the drink. I'll take you up on that drink, as long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you try them. They taste better than they look. Somehow I doubt that, but I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. He's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Ias, he only shrugs. Like I said, they were chewy. Probably poisoned, too. He considers his own drink a tumbler of amber-colored whiskey. Leander's tried to kill me a dozen times by now. It's always a gamble. Veer clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks my way, it's with a half-lidded gaze softened by his third glass of champagne. Were I you, I wouldn't let Leander put anything in my mouth. He fans his fingers over his chest, his voice dripping with fake reverence. The Wetwick is one of the finest establishments in all of Iridia. While you're here, you may as well partake of these signature watered-down drinks and stale nut leather. He sweeps his hand toward a chipped ceramic bowl filled with spindly speckled jerky that I can only assume is nut leather. What is with the food in this city? As abysmal as you make it sound, this place is completely packed. It's not all bad. Depending on the day, the food's edible. Ias takes a measured sip of his drink. Gotta stick around for the real attractions, though. Before I can ask what he means, Leander returns with a tumbler that he sets in front of me. Uneven chunks of ice bob in a pool of reddish-purple alcohol. I sniff the drink suspiciously. To my relief, this time all I smell is the sharp, clean scent of gin with an undercurrent of fermented fruit. Relax, it's just a local specialty. Plum gin. Although, if you're feeling more adventurous, I shake my head. Leander raps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls quiet. Silent. Whatever. All right, everyone. Let's toast. May Jameson's stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers. Keepis. Leander, Ias, and Veer raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and Kuras watches with polite indifference. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly strong. Despite a sharp medicinal edge, it goes down smooth. One sip softens the edges of my vision. The next fades the din of the crowded bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. Aren't you the popular one, Jameson? I'm guessing you met Kuras first. It would be more accurate to say I found him. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit I was confused when I woke up missing all my clothes. Leander makes a choked noise. Somewhere behind him, Min sighs. It's not what you think. Jameson was in grave condition. I could barely treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Kuras's disappointment, and catch Veer snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Kuras isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with practiced ease without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You're one to talk, considering you neglected to warn him to stay off the streets at night. Oh. I might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick toward Ayas and their lips twist. Ayas is too busy nodding along to Veer's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice, lost no doubt in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and Kuras share a brief look. Then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there is something I must discuss with Leander. If you'll excuse us, Jameson. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence. Or so I think, until I hear a voice so soft and low it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide? I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander already snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. He's got business with Kuras and Min. 2-on-1 business, Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Veer has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped up on the back of his hand. His ears twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come, join us. He pats the empty bar stool beside Ayas, but I hesitate. The smile Veer wears is sweet and distinctly sly, and with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ayas will mess with me next. We don't bite. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me, and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. You sure it was me? Yes, it was you. And then you had the gall to kick me out just so you could go drinking. He gives another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Veer suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pooling where he rests his elbows on his knees. Aya sets his hand on Veer's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start fresh? Begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Veer, a hunter extraordinaire. Veer's right hand flutters to his chest and he bows his head, flinching when hair falls into his eyes. Ayas doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. It's Jameson. Veer considers me for a long moment, his tail idly swaying behind him. Then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Jameson. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze away. Aya smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp, cat-like eyes keep me on edge, something about this tension is fun. It must be the gin. A flash of white over Ayas' shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Kuras heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Veer hums and wags his fingers at me as I leave. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone, but just as I'm nearing Kuras. Gah! I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shit stain. My words spill out on their own. You watch it. I regret them as soon as they leave my mouth. That fucking gin. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds called by the commotion circle him, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek. Screw it. Too many freaks in the circus tonight. He turns his back on me and comes face to face with Aias. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. You'll do. What happens next is a blur. Aias' fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey! Hey! Aias, take it outside! Ignore them, everyone! Look, drinks are on me! With those 4 words, the wick erupts into hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush toward the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Aias vanishes out the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Kuras lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up tight as they slip out a side door, while Veer leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize that there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue might be the last person I get to speak to tonight. I follow. Is there anyone still in chat that isn't Lilac? You still here, Mirk? Usually you're floating around somewhere. Mirk may be doing something else as well. I know she balances. I don't see her. That's okay. Doop doop, ba-doop doop, ba-doop doop doop doop. All right. Well, I'm a pick Leander then. So I want to go see Leander. For the second time today, I find myself squeezing through a crowd to reach Leander. As soon as he sees me, his easy smile fades. Are you all right, Jameson? I'm not used to someone looking at me with such earnest concern. I've been through worse today. From the sounds of it, you've had quite the day. How are you holding up? Could be better. Not bad, considering I've been threatened, robbed, and come close to dying too many times to count. I should have known not to let you out of my sight. How about the next time you want to see the city, I come along. I can be your personal guide. You've already helped more than enough. Leander signals for the bartender. I'm parched. Do you want anything? I'm good this time. Nope, no more. Just water, please. Make that too. Once he's ordered, Leander turns back to me. Did you at least get to try any good food? I had these fried dough sticks from a vendor near here. As soon as I begin describing my meal, his eyes brighten with recognition. The long lads from Wen's stall. You've got to try them with porridge. There's another stall about a block away with those rosewater rice flour cakes. Take one bite and you think you'd be transported to some high-town patisserie. Then bam! You open your eyes and it's the same trash-lined street as always. When he laughs, his hair falls over his eyes. He shakes his head and pushes it back. I'll show you sometime. If you've decided to stick around Lowtown, that is. The Iridia Leander describes is far different from the one I've experienced. But if you live anywhere long enough, I suppose it becomes home. It seems like I'll be here for a while. Maybe I'll take you up on that. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses and pushes them our way. Cheers. Keep this. Leander clinks his glass against mine. It's bad luck to cheers with water. The ice-cold water goes down easy. It was surprising finding out you all know each other. I didn't think Iridia would be so small. Do you know how many times I've tried getting them all in one place? It's impossible. Like trying to herd a bunch of soulless. I take it you know them well. Depends. Is there anyone you're curious about in particular? Kuros. Do you and Kuros work together? Occasionally. Did the mysterious, competent doctor catch your eye? He seems like a good person. Though it's hard to believe anyone's a good person these days. That's Kuros. He works hard to serve the people of Lowtown. He's a miracle worker, even if his bedside manner could use some work. Do you think he might be able to cure my curse? Leander starts to speak, but pauses to consider me for a moment first. Kuros is good, but he's only a doctor. Besides, unless you're actively dying, he'll make you wait in line all day like everyone else. I'm very tired of reading. I'm just going to go on. What about covers it? Aren't you tired of standing? Let's find you somewhere to sit. Leander pushes away from the bar, beckoning me to follow him. He leads me to a small booth hidden in a nook of the bar. A pair of bloodhounds notice him and immediately leap to their feet, offering their seats to us. As I slide into the booth, a web of graffiti scratched into the booth's tabletop catches my eye. The deepest grooves form the outline of the dog from Leander's posters. Dozens of roughly etched names surround the drawing, some fresh, some well-worn. What is all this? It's tradition. Whenever someone joins the Bloodhounds, they have a drink with us and then they carve in their initials. The barkeeper must love that. After the first year, she's finally stopped charging me extra for, damages. 2 years and countless drinks later, she added her own name. You're not planning on recruiting me, are you? He quickly shakes his head. Not yet. You need time to think about your own path. Do you know what you're going to try next? The question gives me pause. I take my hands out from under my cloak and rest them on the table. Do you think you can help me? Of course. We can find answers together. Leander starts to reach for me as though meaning to take my hand before stopping himself. His eyes flicker to mine. I won't fail you, Jameson. And if you ever need a taste of normalcy, I'll always be here for you. My chest tightens at the memory of touching him. Even now? Leander swallows. The table groans under his elbows as he leans forward. The booth is so narrow that he completely blocks my view of the bar counter. It's almost as though Leander and I are completely alone. If that's what you want. How did it make you feel? It was warm, exciting. I don't know how to describe it. Leander rests his right hand on the table. He looks at me, smiling when I place my hand in his. Slowly, he begins unwinding the bandages, stopping every so often to glance at me. As my skin becomes visible, I cast a nervous glance around the bar, but as far as I can see, no one is paying us any attention. Leander squeezes my hand gently. No one will notice. He pulls back, raising his hand to his mouth so he can tug his glove off with his teeth. The muscles in his forearm tighten as he flexes his fingers. Our eyes meet, and Leander offers his hand again. There you go. Hand holding on demand. A lump forms in my throat. I'm certain Leander sees it in my face, the flicker of desperation. His voice lowers to a whisper. Anything you want, Jameson. Red text? Red text? Red text means special. I touch your face. I blush. I'd probably do that too. I blurt out the first request that comes to mind. Can I touch your face? Oh, sure. I lean over the table, hesitating before I reach for his face. When my fingers graze his jaw, Leander laughs softly. That tickles. It's fine, you can just... He takes my wrist, angling my hand so he can press his cheek into my palm. Warmth spreads under my fingertips. A surprised breath escapes me. Gently, I run my thumb down the ridge of the scar on his cheek, and he shudders, his earring jingling against my knuckles. You're getting awfully bold. I've never touched someone like this before. And even though it makes my head spin, it's already not enough. I want to be even closer. My heart hammers, filling my ears with a pulse that grows unbearably loud until I pull my hand back. Are you all right? I can barely hear his words over my pounding heart, but I manage to nod. Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, I just think I'm getting a little dizzy. He gives me a gentle smile, eyes crinkling at the edges. You've had a long day. You deserve some rest. Luckily, your room is just upstairs. Want me to walk you back? I shake my head and begin wrapping my hand back up. With each deep breath, my head feels more clear. I'm fine, but thanks for, well, everything. Remember what I told you. If you ever need a break from the chaos of the city, I'll be here for you. When I rise, Leander gives me one last smile. Good night, Jameson. Night. I trudge up the stairs, but even as I leave Leander behind, the warmth of his skin still lingers on mine, burning through the bandages. Yay! Choose your fate of all these peoples. Confirm. Take you for played. Yay! We did the thing. Huzzah. And that's Touch Starved. It's delightful. I recommend everyone go get it and play a demo and do all the paths and all the things. Try all the stuff. It's so much fun. Yes, go wishlist it. I'm trying to remember. Let me check Steam. Yeah, it's still listed as being TBD on a release date, but I know that the goal is in the next year or two from what they've said in their Kickstarter. Lilac is right, find secret endings. I genuinely, like, I haven't done every combination. I still think there's at least, like, 2 or 3, two, I think, of the people there at the end that I haven't gone after yet. Things do change if you choose different backgrounds. Like, if you go as a mage, you get new and interesting stuff, like when you meet Leander, because then you recognize the magic. So all sorts of little stuff. It's really, really interesting. I'm really glad I backed this game. And I honestly just sort of, like, someone told me about it and were like, go do this. And I was like, okay. And so I genuinely backed it sight unseen, and then played it and was like, oh, good, I'm glad I did this. So it's fantastic. I mean, you can see the writing, the art, it's all really, really good. And I definitely want to support the developers as they continue on the way with their Kickstarter. Or, well, the Kickstarter is long done, but as they continue making the game and get it closer to completion, so we can all see it. And I get the feeling they're either adding or have recently added some stuff to the demo, if I'm remembering the email I got right. So even if you have played in the past, it's worth picking up again, because, you know, they're always updating stuff. So, but yeah, that is gonna do it for tonight. We're a little over time, but that's okay. I am hoping to be back again on Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Back on Thursday, excuse me. And I'm because there's so many of these games, I'm interspersing them. So every other stream will be one in the series, which means that on Thursday, y'all get to watch me attempt to play the first Five Nights at Freddy's. I've played pieces of it. I'll be starting over with like night one, but I'm not very good at it, but it'll be fun. So we'll see how far I can get in like the 3 hours of my stream. Who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky. But yes, so that'll be the third. And then again, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator, which will be every other stream. I will probably actually put the schedule of this up so you can see what all the games are. There will be one that comes closer to Halloween that I'm going to be playing more than once because I do intend to continue playing it after Halloween. And that one's Deadly Premonition. Yeah. But so I've got all of October planned, ladies, gents, and all other folks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being back. Glad that you're all here hanging out with me. Thank you again, Ubernaga, for the raid. That was fantastic. It totally startled me with, with the sound alert, but hey, I'm okay with that. And I see it, and you know, anyone that's picked up being a follower or anything while we're here, very much appreciated. This is what I do. I stream random stuff Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and with any luck at all, this is going to be the start of me being back on schedule. So, as I have picked up from other people, until the next time I see you, best of luck in the battles yet to come. Thank you for spending a little bit of your precious time on me. And until next time, Voihuven Ustavani.